If you like what you hear in this podcast and want to help us keep the lights on, then you could support us on Ko-fi for as little as a £1 one-off donation. The links are in the episode description. Thanks for your support. This is Skipped, the podcast where we tell you which albums are truly unskippable and which ones can be thrown in the skip. I'm Mike.
Well, I'm Rob.
And as part of this debut double feature, we're now looking at one of my suggested albums. Remember, you can send your suggestions for the show to skippedpod@gmail.com. That is SKIPD pod@gmail.com. But today, you don't get to pick. This is one I picked. And the reason I picked We Are Scientists with Love and Squalor, their debut record, another of the debut records as part of this double whammy, is now. Interesting story. I misremembered which album I really loved of We Are Scientists. And when we were starting to have the idea for this show, I told Rob it's their second album, Brain Thrust Mastery. And then I went back onto the track list for that one. I'm like, yeah, this is good, but these aren't the songs I remember. So it turns out I must have had a playlist on my iPod. Again, kids, back in the day, we had dedicated music players. Sometimes they had discs and sometimes they had hard discs.
Or tapes.
I've got like 2 tapes up there, but they're just Guardians ones. Did you have a tape deck?
Yeah.
Genuinely?
I had a portable and a home one, and I used to like my 5 single that had Inspector Gadget as the B-side.
He's number 1.
One.
If somebody could please suggest whatever album that was of Fives.
I think it was their debut.
Was it their debut? Okay. Jeez.
Just Everybody Get Up.
I don't remember that. Oh, Five Won't Make You Get Down. We're here to talk about We Are Scientists.
This album originally came out October 2005, so coming up to their 20-year anniversary of this album, which is baffling.
Yeah, we talked about it in the previous episode, but it's baffling that these records are 20 years old. Again, it's the same year as American Idiot, and records like that still feel relevant, and yet they're 20 years in the past. There are people who can legally drink who are younger than this record.
I do think that this has got one of the best album covers of all time, though.
Yeah, the 3 band members, now 2 band members, because this was the only album to feature, I think it's Mike Trapper on the drums. But yeah, they are there. They're behind 3 cats, but they are there.
And then the back of the cover, it's just their backsides.
Yeah.
What a great album cover.
Couldn't get more literal than that. Here
Nope.
we are. Here are some cats.
We Are Scientists.
One of the cats is called Jerry. That is your fun fact for the episode.
What?
I don't know why I know that.
I'm taking it.
I think it was on their blog back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were a big We Are Scientists stan.
Here's the thing, right? I wasn't. I
knew one of the cats' names from the album cover, and you know band members' names.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think you may have been a bit of a fan.
Here's the thing about this band, right? Chris and Keith, good couple of lads. I feel like they're the most British, non-British act, in the sense that I feel like they did really well over here. They charted, they were on MTV2 a lot, which was, a mark of quality back in 2005 and 6. And I get the impression that they do a lot better with their music over here than they ever did in their home country, because they just keep releasing records and they just keep coming back. And this is the one that started it all.
Wait, they're still going?
They are still going.
Oh, wow.
If I time this right, this episode might come out the week of their latest album.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. I did not expect them to still be pushing music out.
Still going strong.
Wow.
And this is where it all started. And yeah, I put this one forward because I just thought the collection of singles was really good. I thought there's a great kind of rhythm to the album, and there was a lot of songs I just remember really enjoying, like the harmonies and the structure. And you know what? It was just a great record. So good that I misremembered it as their second album.
So good, I couldn't remember what the album was.
Basically, yes. But that's my history with it and why I brought it to the table today. So, had you heard this one before?
I had actually heard this one before. I remember listening to this one at a friend's house back in say like late 2005, early 2006, after buying a copy of it from Music Zone.
R.I.P.
Rip.
Rip, big man.
Oh, what a shop.
I don't remember where Music Zone was.
They were everywhere.
Oh, okay.
Big blue sign.
Did we have one like knocking around here?
There was one in West Brom, one in Birmingham.
Cool.
They had them all over the place.
This is a hell of a tangent for people who remember. It was buying music physically in a shop.
Yep, buying CDs, buying tapes before iTunes was really a thing. Before it was widely available, because I hadn't got an internet connection back in 2005.
God damn.
But yeah, I remember sitting in a friend's house and listening to this album a fair bit. There were some songs that I still remember to this day. I heard the opening note and instantly started singing along, which is crazy considering I haven't listened to this band in about probably 18 years.
Wow. Okay. I mean, that's an opening statement, right? You don't listen for that long and immediately it clicks. That's kind of why I love this record and kind of why I love this band, because it feels fairly timeless, right? It's just good indie rock. I think that's as simple as it can be. And it's a record stacked with pretty great songs. But we're here to talk about the worst and best before we give you our final opinion. So, you're the guest on this episode. How about you tell us your favourite track from this?
So, my favourite, it's tied between two.
Oh, contentious.
So, probably the biggest song that I remember from the album, Nobody Move, Nobody Get Hurt, which is up there just because of the singability and like how it goes from like awesome little guitar riff that was very in between indie and rock to like a nice little breakdown, or Cash Cow, because it is the chorus just gets stuck in my head so badly, and that is the one song I remember hearing just the introduction of and being like, oh my lord, I remember this, and started singing along.
So like those are the two where you're like, oh, neurons activated.
Like, oh wow, I feel 13 again.
And sometimes that's a good thing.
Sometimes.
I'm tempted to match you because I'm also similarly stuck between two. And it's what I loved back in the day and what I rediscovered listening to as an album as a whole. And you know what? I'll match that. We'll go 2 for 2 on this. Back in the day, my favourite one was The Great Escape. And I think it takes on such a interesting meaning now. And especially with the video, which funny enough was directed by one of the guys from Lonely Island. Weirdly enough. Yeah, Akiva Schaffer directed that video. Yeah. Wow. What I liked about it back then was the kind of the drive and the da-da-da-da-da-da-da and boom, like, I loved how that worked. But now you listen to it, it's a really good song about battling through kind of anxiety and depression to an extent. I know that, again, maybe I'm doing that thing where I read too much into it, but I think, what's the lyric? Breaking both my hands, and he feels debilitated by what he's carrying on with him, but everything continues to mount up, but the rhythm in the song just keeps taking you through. You have to carry on. Have I done that weird media wanky thing again?
It's fine. I know how much you love looking into the meaning behind the songs, but I'm just there bopping away, just enjoying a nice catchy melody and enjoying the rhythm of the song, the cadence, one could say. That's my sort of thing. I know you love reading into it, and like the fact that music can have that effect on you, that kind of puts it into the upper echelons.
Oh, for sure. But it's tied on re-listens. It's tied with Worth the Wait. Purely, I feel like that's the one where I kind of just like get into a vibe, because I really like the way that they've layered those background vocals on the chorus, and that hanging out and that counting down, that bit at the end, this sway to it, even though it's got quite a nice complicated drum rhythm, there is this swing that I really like with this. And I think it's because it's not a complicated song. It's just someone saying speaking to somebody that they are romantically entangled with and going, you're a bad choice and I'm still here for it. And I don't relate to that. I'm very happily married. But I love it as a concept, and I think it makes the complexities of all the layers of the song just feel a bit more concrete, if you will. Yeah, I've done it again. Really done it again. Yeah, I think that is worth the wait to get to the end of the album. I felt you physically cringe from the other side of this goddamn room.
I'm wincing right now. I'm so glad there's no camera because I'm sinking into my armchair. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Ouch.
So, do you like that one then? Okay. Right. We've talked the good. Let's talk the bad. Because ultimately, I'm gonna jump right on this. I'm gonna level with you now. I don't think I remembered this album being quite so monosyllabic. You know what I mean? Very like, if you're gonna make a good song, you may as well then make that same song 13 times, right? And I think when it gets to, I think it's textbook, and it starts to change the formula just a little bit. And this is textbook's a fan favorite, and it do not work for me anymore.
Do you know what's comical?
Yeah.
I've had the exact same track listed as my least favorite track on that album. It just does not fit the flow of the rest of the album. The rest of the album has, each song has a similar formula, but has its own unique sound. The whole album could work without textbook.
Yeah, in much the same way it can probably also work without What's the Word, which isn't my pick. I think textbook is just the worst one on the record. But What's the Word kind of feels like it should just swap places with Worth the Wait, if I'm being critical. But textbook, just like you say, it doesn't fit. This is quite a driving record, and textbook feels very plodding in comparison.
It just feels a bit boring compared to the rest of the album.
Now, weirdly enough, I've never seen these guys live. They still perform textbook live, as far as I'm aware. Which of the ones to pull from this record, I would not have picked that, especially to do live, right?
Maybe they just enjoy playing it. Like, sometimes there are tracks out there that people may dislike, but the band just love performing. So I've got to give it to them. The fact that they're keeping on with it, like, fair play, keep going. But yeah, not for me. Or you, apparently.
Not, I mean, it's the inverse problem of the Panic show from the last episode, right? Where it's an album I go, oh yeah, this one, and the only one I don't do that for is textbook. So it's there by proxy, but it's not there because I think it's dreadful. It's just there because it feels like it belongs on a different album somehow. I don't even know where you put it in their discography, which we may well go into if people suggest that we do. Not that I'm asking that people suggest we do, but it wouldn't fit on Brain Thrust as I remember it. It wouldn't fit on Barbara. It wouldn't fit on Megaplex. I'm naming albums that most people haven't listened to.
You're naming albums that I've never heard of.
Fair enough. But I feel like this has its place in history, and I feel like that's the thing we should just briefly talk about before we come to the verdict, because we spoke a lot about legacy with A Fever You Can't Sweat Out. And I feel like with Love and Squalor doesn't have a legacy as an album. I feel it has a legacy as a collection of songs. And I know that's basically the same, two ways to say the same thing. But everybody that kind of moves in the circles we do would probably know these songs, but couldn't tell you who it was and what the title of that track was.
I think as well, looking at legacy, when We Are Scientists came about, there was a new surge of indie. And if you look at the bands that followed, like The Automatic, Arctic Monkeys, a lot of British indie acts came out after this. They saw the success of this album with a very similar format and an English accent, and absolutely rinsed sales. So there is legacy there. The fact that they came out with a great album that's got a lot of hits on and a lot of really recognisable elements of songs that you may not even recognise. You may hear them in just used randomly TV shows and films and be like, oh wait, I recognise that, and not know that it came from We Are Scientists. So they paved the way for a lot of newer indie acts that probably wouldn't have come along if it wouldn't have been for them being so successful.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about the kind of the indie explosion probably 2006, 2007 onwards. I mean, would the Kooks have got big if this had not come out? That kind of
naive
logic. It is, for fuck's sake. That's the worst one so far. Yeah, I think it's a really good point that there's no indie explosion without something that starts the fire. And this is that record, as far as I can tell. It's funny you mention the tracks finding themselves in places where they perhaps wouldn't have expected to be. I'm fairly certain tracks on this record made its way into FIFA and I want to say Burnout Legends, I think. So I remember I owned Burnout Legends. It's somewhere in one of these cupboards.
I think it was on Takedown as well.
Was it on Takedown?
As well. I think they were on a couple.
Ah, there you go. And it's that background indie, right? And they seem to get a decent amount of exposure and radio play for this one. Again, considering it was a debut record, it was received quite warmly in Britain and in Europe, far more than in America. So for it to be big on something like FIFA, I think kind of tells you where their audience was. So overall then, I think, I mean, just the first time, is the first time you listened to it start to finish?
I think it may be.
So we come to the immortal question of whether or not this is an unskippable album. And you kind of know where I'm going with this, right?
I think I know where you're going with this one.
I think after you go back through it, I think there's a great selection of hits on this. You know, the singles that came off this record, The Great Escape, I don't know if they released It's a Hit as a single, but they certainly have a music video for it. Nobody Move, Nobody Get Hurt. I truly think these songs are impeccably timeless when it comes to like early indie. And yet, I've re-examined this on a re-listen through, right? And I'm confident that you could lose Textbook and What's the Word, and the record would not be damaged.
I think it'd be slightly better especially if you lost Textbook.
Yeah.
I think it'd be improved. I think maybe a slightly shorter album for me would have made it a more enjoyable album to listen to.
Are we about to say the same thing again?
I think we may be. I can't get past Textbook. I've listened to this album about 8 to 10 times over the last 3 or 4 days. And every time I get to Textbook, I'm like, ugh. I get about halfway through and skip it. I can't. Like, I think I've listened to it all the way through twice.
I mean, that is literally what we're trying to establish here.
I get halfway through and I'm like, this is just boring.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not something that I want to sit and listen to.
Yeah.
So I end up skipping it. So that kind of gives you my answer.
Yeah, literally. It's kind of the title of the show. I fear I'm right there with you, because I do think you could lose 2 songs and the album be improved and then truly be unskippable.
Which is the whole point of this show.
This is it. I made excuses for that truly detestable Panic song in the previous episode, but I struggle, even though I like Textbook enough, I don't like it enough for it to be worth your time that far into the album, because this is not a short album. Like, a lot of the albums at this time are coming out maybe 11 tracks. This is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 songs. So admittedly, it's only one more. So you can lose Textbook, and it's kind of all the way there. So on this occasion, I'm going to have to say this one's for the skip.
I am going to be yeeting this one directly into the skip for both of us.
Oh, that feels so wrong.
It does, considering the incredible songs that are on this album. But at the same time, this isn't about the individual songs. This is about the collective. This is about experiencing the album as a whole, and whether you can wholeheartedly say, I could sit and listen to that entire thing and not go, I want to skip that. And for this one, I just can't, unfortunately.
I think it's a victim of active listening, right? Because you choose to listen to an album start to finish. You're buying into that. This is on the background. You could probably get through the whole thing, no problem.
Yeah, probably. But there are still occasions where you can have background listening on and be like, yeah, I don't like this one. Like, if you're listening to the radio and you hear a certain artist come on, you skip the radio to a different station or listen to the car noises, and that's textbook for me.
The textbook is traffic for you.
I'd rather listen to traffic. Yeah.
Jeez.
No, it's a bit harsh. It isn't that bad of a song. It just does not flow with the rest of the album. It kind of just slows it all down a bit too much, and just takes away from just some of the absolute incredible instrumental tracks that are on the rest of the album.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, and I have to apologise to my past self who recommended this one. Again, it would be interesting to see whether or not there's a blend of this and their second album, because I really just conflated the two, that makes an unskippable record. But as it stands, lads, you were so close. It's just a couple of tracks that tripped you up. With apologies to We Are Scientists for this one.
If you're listening, We Are Scientists, we do really apologise.
We do. I love your music. I blame this git sat in front of me.
Hey, you have your own opinion.
You can. Please let us know your opinion at socials. No, I'm kidding. Right, what we do want, though, is, as we said at the top of the show, your suggestions for your unskippable albums. An album that you think is worth a start to finish listen through. Send them over to us at skippedpod@gmail.com. That's SKIPD pod@gmail.com.
And if you have any reason why you want us to listen to those albums, please feel free to send that across, and we'll happily take any album into account, any artist. We are completely open to listening to absolutely any genre of music. Please send one each. We don't want to be inundated with 15 requests from one person that just really loves Metallica. But at the same time, we don't want singles. Just give us your favourite album that you could just sit and listen for the entire way through. We'll get to it in a later episode.
When we get to it. When we decide. This is our show. No, I'm kidding. Thank you for listening to this episode of Skipped. We'll see you in the next one. I'm Mike.
I'm Rob.
And this has been Skip Podcast.
Bye.